All right, so I just finished watching Oshays live. Actually, I think it's still going on right now. I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, so some of the things that actually that stick out to me and stuff like that, and I have to say I disagree with most of the things that he said. Right, and hear me out. And Oshay, and this is not like a hate or whatever the case may be, but this is where I'm coming from, right? Because I do understand that when it comes to, let's say, when you become a big YouTuber, sometimes you don't understand where the criticism is coming from, a place of hate or it's genuine, right? So I get that part. So I'm speaking based on what you have said, right? And one of the things that you mentioned, because the whole live stream was about the beef that's going on between Abba and Preach and Fresh and Fit. And a lot of people were saying that Fresh and Fit went too far when you actually mention, when this guy actually mentions Preach's wife and all that stuff, right? Doing all that shit. And to which I agree with that. But you have, but I think Osh's position was this is one of the reasons why he don't go to white YouTube and stuff like that because you can't do, these nigga shit. Whereas in black YouTube, insulting someone's wife is considered a roast, right? And this is where I disagree with him with that because, like, think about it though, right? Other people's culture tend to have a certain level of a certain other people culture tend to have a certain level of integrity. So then when you attack someone's wife, right? When you attack someone's loved ones, could be your wife, your mom, whatever the case may be, right? So then now you are taking this to a level of disrespect now where that person can actually physically cause you harm. And I understand that and we think that in the black community, we try to pass it on as doing something like that to go to that level of disrespect is okay. But in reality, it's not okay because when you're looking at some of the killing and some of the shooting that's going on in our black community, why do you think that is? Has to do with a high level of disrespect and a high level of men that cannot take any sort of disrespect but willingly will give it. So then you have people that will be like, well, don't talk about my mama, but they'll talk about your mama, right? As if that's supposed to be okay. So we're not willing to treat others the way that we want to be treated. And then we constantly try to, like, and we constantly now asking ourselves questions like, yo, why do we keep killing each other? This is why integrity and a certain level of morality is very important in other culture, right? And especially like third world culture and stuff like that. Let's say take somebody like in Haiti, right? In Haiti, you don't have a court system to go to, so you're not gonna find any type of justice. You're not gonna find any type of um. The only thing that you can actually have is street justice. So then your character is very important. When you actually say something, you mean it. When you actually disrespect someone, then there's also consequences that come with it, right? And here, one of the things that I realize in here is that we can't tell the difference between when someone disagree with, let's say, your point of view and stuff like that, right? When they actually genuinely criticizing your ideology and the ego gets involved. Once the ego gets involved, then therefore now the people now take this as a level of disrespect, and then now they feel the way now they have to attack you on a personal level. Never mind what was being said. My girl just tried to call me right now. But anyway, so never mind what's being said, right? Never mind the ideology that's being talked about. They have to go on a personal level, right? And once the person that has to go to that personal level, once they do that, then they lose their argument, lose all credibility. So take for instance, right? I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, now I remember what I was gonna say. Right. All right. So one of the things that you mentioned is that you read the stick in the black YouTube, because then you'll be able to I guess in a way be free, be yourself, so on and so forth. Do some of the nigga shit, right? That's from what I'm understanding. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I interpreted it wrongly and stuff like that. But from what I understand is like you don't want to go to the white YouTube sphere because then there's a certain level of expectation that is placed upon you when you have to do nigga shit or when you have to handle certain beef and stuff like that on some nigga shit, right? And I get that part. Hey, it's like it is what it is. Most people are, they get comfortable to where they at. That's nothing wrong with that. But I'm looking at it from the black manosphere as a whole, where the reason why it's kind of difficult for us to progress, to actually even have any type of conversation that has substance, is because too many of us are driven by our ego and are driven by a level of disrespect. So then if the second someone disagree with you, disrespect is what you gotta go for, then how can you have any genuine constructive conversation that's actually gonna take the manosphere from just from just like just people just rambling and shooting the shit to a force that can be reckoned with, a force that can, like, when we start producing, black media content, black this, black that, all the black Wakanda shit that we talked about, but we can't even have a simple disagreement with one another without actually talking about that person's wife. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, if I have a disagreement with somebody, right? Blah, 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 and that person insult my wife. And then turns out that person is an attorney or an accountant or one of these high-end jobs and stuff like that, right? Am I ever going to actually use that person for any of the services? Am I ever going to recommend that person for any of these services? Am I ever going to seek counsel from that person for any of these services? So anything that he has to offer as a business person doesn't matter to me anymore, right? Now think of how many people in these black YouTube street that are so talented, they have so many skills they can actually offer to the black manosphere. But because of all that beef shit, now nobody can use nobody else's service. I'm pretty sure Ramil is a very smart individual, right? I don't really watch his stuff that much like that, right? But I think he deal with science, with finance and stuff like that. But from a highly, maybe Ramil is not a good example because I don't really know him that well. So what, I don't know who I could use as an example. But my point is this: when you end up talking to someone a certain way, when you actually cross the line, then therefore you burn a bridge, and you never know what type of bridge are you burning. You don't. You just never know. So I understand that not you should not care about nobody's respect, right? But respecting yourself, I think, is very important. And when you have to go down to the path of where you have to insult someone's wife, someone that had nothing to do with the conversation, then that is not only a disrespect to that person, but also a disrespect of the self, right? And you never know what type of things that you might lose. So yeah, that's where I was coming at with this whole situation. When it comes to third world country, and when it comes to a lot of other culture, yeah, we value integrity. We value integrity, and we value the fact that when someone, um, we see, we tend to measure a man based on how he handle adversity. We tend to measure a man based on how he handle adversity. Women tend to say something and they come back for it because they can blame that shit on their emotion. It's like, oh, well, I was angry, I was doing this, I was doing blah, 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 right? So then, therefore, they tend to get like a pass for this shit, which they shouldn't, but at least they tend to get a pass. Men, we look at it as in like certain things that you say, you have to back it up. Like, look at how now this guy, I think Fresh and Fit, one of them clowns, right? Actually, both of them. Now they have to back out of it. They challenge someone after they disrespect that person's wife, right? And then now they end up looking like a bitch, like two bitches, because deep down they know that. Oh, and another thing that I think you said, right? Um, if someone come to your city and stuff like that, then try to give you a fair one. That's not gonna happen because they're gonna get rolled out and all that shit, right? That concept of like it's kind of foreign to us, right? It's like growing up in Haiti or any of my peers, right? It's like if you're gonna fight someone one on one, that's the mentality. We don't think about like, well, if that person's losing, I'm gonna have to jump in there and stuff like that and help them out because I don't want my boy to lose. No, no, no. It's like because my grandfather used to make me fight, right? Uncles and stuff like that. It's like, that's type of shit that we used to do as kids, right? Or even growing up as teenager and stuff like that, right? It's like you when someone challenges you, either you respond to the challenge or you don't. But when you do, you don't bring any weapon. You don't freaking like bring your boys into the. I mean, yeah, you bring your boys just in case the other person their friends want to jump in. But it tends to be 1-on-1, win or lose, right? And the only time the person might just kind of step in just to separate is if you already like it's clearly the you lost. So then I was like, okay, all right, let's finish the shit off. All right, he lost, whatever, and that's it. But to think that like, well, you let's say somebody challenged me, and then now I'm like, all right, cool. Let's see what's going on. And then now I showed up. It's like, well, you know what? And so you get like, two or three of your boys like that. Obviously, you know. And that's the thing, though. Like that part of being, honorable is missing. A man without honor and integrity is not a high value man. And I understand this is not the definition of Kevin Samuel and stuff like that, right? I understand like you gotta make a certain amount of money, you gotta be highly recognizable, blah blah blah, right? I get that part. But when you come from a culture where money is not the highest priority because nobody had it, but when you come from this culture, honor and integrity is what gives someone value in their community. That's it. All this other stuff is bonus, right? Honor, integrity. That is very, very important. And that's why Haitians, they kind of look at us, we're crazy and stuff like that. Not because we actually are crazy, but because that once we get to the point where if I'm pissed off enough at someone, right? It doesn't matter how many times that person whooped my ass, I'm still coming. I'm still coming. Because like once you get to the point where why the hell you think that sometimes you have governments in Haiti, even though despite the fact that they got guns and the Haitians still able to overthrow them with rocks, machete, and all that shit. Because everybody have their breaking point, and once you actually pass that breaking point, then it doesn't matter if they're catching bullets or not. It doesn't matter if they have to face a tank or not. They actually now they believe in something so much. They believe in something so much that regardless of the outcome, they're gonna risk it. And that is something that fresh and fit can't comprehend because they're not connected to anything. They're frivolous. They're all about the bling bling, the shiny objects and stuff like that. They're not connected to anything real. So then to them, it's not a big deal to disrespect somebody's wife. It's not a big deal to actually insult someone's, culture or someone's, ethnicity and stuff like that. It's not a big deal to them because they're not connected to anything. Their only aim is to get money so they have more access to pussy. To people from other culture, they see that as weak. They see that as it's not respectable. And that's why other culture or people that actually, or you call it the white manosphere and stuff like that, that's why they see that behavior and fresh and fit and they walked away. Because when you compare Fresh and Fit versus a guy like Abba and Preach, there's no comparison. You have two individual with moral and integrity, and then you have two other individual that just faking it for the gram, faking it for YouTube. They're not real. They're not connected to anything. You know, and I wish that Black YouTube could also have some sort of level of standard to where the the nigga shit could actually tone down, where people can actually have a debate on ideology without actually going overboard and insult people's mom or people's siblings or people's wives or daughters and stuff like that. Until we're able to get to that point, then Black YouTube will always remain where it is right now. Yeah, people are always gonna have some sort of security in there and stuff like that, right? Being like a big fish in a small pond or whatever the case may be. But to actually grow to the point where it could be as equivalent as white YouTube, I don't know. I don't know. But anyways, um, that's my perspective. So, like I said, this is just a criticism based on my observation. It's not anything out of hate or out of malice. So hopefully you take it the way I'm talking about. Anyway, I'm out of here. It's Arbanaka. Share, like, comment, subscribe. Peace.